What's up, everybody? Here we are with the Week 8 recap of the Arizona Cardinals and Ravens game. We finished out with a much closer win than expected with the 31-24 final score. But at the end of the day, we are now 6-2 on top of the AFC North, and we're on a 3-game win streak. So what do you think?
Everyone else in the AFC North is 4-3, so we have a 2-game cushion. I guess a game and a half over the Steelers because they have the tiebreaker, but. Yeah, we're maybe a 2.5 over Cleveland and Cincy, right? Because we have the tiebreaker.
I think everybody else is 4-3. And so we beat everybody besides Pittsburgh. So
who we will beat next time, unless we're like
week 17, unless we bench everybody because we already secured.
Yeah.
But anyways, great game. Injuries wise, we pretty much came out healthy. The only guy, do you know if Owe ever came back after he got knocked out? I didn't see him.
I don't think he came back, but I don't think it was because he was like seriously injured or anything.
Yeah, I know. Harbaugh didn't say. He said in his press conference today that nobody had any major injuries or anything. So
yeah, I will say that stomach contusion looked really bad at first. I thought OBJ might have like hurt himself for quite a bit of time. But he's tough. He came back in. He didn't quite make an impact really in as much. Well, he did because he was drawing the corners and all that. But as far as like actually catching the ball, he didn't really do too much. But he
had 0 catches. But even with 0 catches, he had like 2 or 3 big pass interferences.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel like the reason he's getting these pass interferences is because he's not getting the separation that he's used to getting. So he's just so close with the DBs. It's
hard. He's older.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this initial reaction. First off, I just want to talk about how bad the commentary was.
Yeah, it was so pro Cardinals. I couldn't even believe it was like a national commentary.
It wasn't even pro Cardinals or whatever for me. It was just like the overall, like, just not in tune with anything going on. It seemed like it was like they were calling Michael Pierce some fat boy basically that just stays at the buffet. They're talking about like they don't realize how referees have a headset in and are being told from up top what's going on and if they have to move the ball back the one time.
I must have missed that because I didn't.
Oh yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. I think did you watch the sped up version?
Yeah, I watched the condensed version. So it was pretty much play after play after play after play.
Yeah.
But if there was a flag, it would show what the flag was,
The in-between plays was so bad. Like it was so noticeably bad.
That's sucky.
And I think they're making it up for us with this coming up week because they just announced we're getting the A crew with Tony Romo and I think Jim Nance.
Wait, are we playing at 4:00 next week too?
No, it's 1.
1
it's
o'clock.
At home.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I thought it was at home.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I think my initial reaction though, just watching the game. I think we kind of slept on them like we normally do against inferior teams, but what put the Cardinals ahead of other teams? I think they schemed really well for us defensively. They really irritated Lamar Jackson. He couldn't really do everything he wanted to. I think part of it is that we've been playing on the road. Like we went to London, then we went to Baltimore, then we went to Arizona. Like we could be a little tired, but most importantly, I just think they had a good game plan against us. And I really do give the Cardinals kudos because they are a well-coached team. Their offense was their killer. We did have 1 or 2 back-breaking penalties while we were on defense. But even so, there was no point in the game where I really feared that they were going to come back and win. Even when they got that first onside kick, it was just whatever, like we were still up by 10. The odds of them scoring and getting another onside kick were probably next to none, as you saw. So I think all in all, it was a good game, closer than it should have been, but it was like close, like the Bengals game was close. Like it wasn't really close, but the score was close. I do wonder what would have happened if Josh Dobbs hadn't thrown that dreadful interception, though. The one where he like completely just threw it right to who was it? It wasn't the Geno Stone one. It was the other one.
The other one was to Brandon Stevens.
Yeah, the one to Brandon Stevens where he just literally threw it over his receiver to him.
Yeah, I think that they gifted us those 2 interceptions for sure. But I will say, just initial reaction wise, that was the first time our defense has had any trouble this entire year, especially early on in the game. Like, they came straight down and scored in the first drive, and we have not seen that yet. And we're playing the team that's supposed to be having the number 1 pick next year.
Yeah. I will say, though, it's easy for a running back to come in. It's easier for a running back to come in and just dominate, you know. They are a very run-heavy team. That is their scheme, and I just think that I don't know, maybe we just didn't travel well. That really could be it.
I don't know what the issues were, but it just overall offense was not smooth, and like in any way, it just felt very forced in everything that we did.
Yeah.
And it felt, especially with the passing game, it felt like we were trying to force ourselves to pass the ball when they were giving us the run.
Like,
they were
all we had to
dropping
do.
8 defenders on first and second down, giving
Gus
us the
Edwards,
run.
Gus Edwards could have had like 150-yard game if we let him.
Yeah, he would have. I mean, he already had a career day. He could have even gone even crazier.
Right. Which, you know, another person who went crazy was Michael Pierce. Love to see that guy play the way he did.
Yes.
He still got
a beast.
I mean, just all over the place. All over the place.
The thing that I will take away positively was just that it was just good to see us close out a close game in the second half. You know, like, we obviously had the feeling the entire time that we were going to win the game, but a lot of those games come down and we are like, oh, we're going to lose this game. And we do.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to us with the Steelers and the Colts. This time we closed it out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm glad we didn't get Kyler Murray now.
I will say the referees were awful too. I think we had the worst referee crew.
We really got the garbage, just NFL crew in general, like commentary, the referees.
The production in the CBS
too.
Production crew was awful. They were literally the yard markers were like completely off. At one point, the first down marker was in the end zone. At one point, it was like second and 15 when it was like second and 5. Like, their whole down distances were off.
They just didn't know what
going on.
We probably got like all of the like the interns and crap that are like in college and just don't really know what they're actually doing.
Dude, the worst to me was the fact that on the first drive, I think it was the third down, they called the penalty on Kyle Hamilton, and we didn't even get to see the replay.
Yeah, that was ass because they wouldn't have scored on that drive. It would have been.
I finally saw the replay today, and it was such a soft call.
Doesn't shock me, dude. That ref is one of the worst. I remember when we were talking about him last week, and I told you I knew who he was. It's because he is legitimately one of the worst referees.
And I think it's not just him. I think his crew is pretty bad too.
Yeah, all of these people should still be in college football.
But overall, in the NFL right now, reffing has to be at its all-time lowest point.
I hate how they went on strike to get better things, but then they just went right back to sucking. And it's like, you can't hold them accountable for anything. Anytime you make
there
a
needs to be some accountability.
You get fined. You know, like,
there's got to be an accountability.
There needs to be like a ref court.
If you don't want to do the accountability, don't want to hold them accountable, then you should have someone up in the box in their earpiece, like they already do, on more of these calls that are just awful.
Look, and I'm not just complaining because they have been bad to us. Like, the refs just in any game you watch have been really bad.
It's making the NFL game less enjoyable.
They've even given us calls where I've been like, I don't know if that's a flag, but thank you, you know? So
I just want to see it called the way it's supposed to be called.
Right. Hopefully we'll have
college
like robot
no
refs
issues.
in a few years.
College has no issues.
We should get robot refs in a few years. Just completely cut the refs out of the league. Seriously. It's 2023. 2033 we'll have like AI robot refs that
Or
just
you just have any penalty, you have basically the refs up in the box that are watching it in different views, different camera views, and then they can just call penalties that way.
yeah, like a sky ref. Didn't they used to have that one year? A sky ref, didn't they test that out?
I know they, like I was saying, they still have the people that are up above basically calling it down for certain things, but it's not for every call. It's only
No,
for.
but didn't they literally have a ref in the sky who would be like throw a flag
I don't know.
one year? I thought they did. I thought they tried that one year. Maybe I'm crazy.
Either way, let's go ahead and get into offense.
Offense. The run game was great when we used it. Justice Hill, clunky at first, had a strong game. Lamar Jackson was indecisive at times. Where we praised him for holding onto the ball last week, he held onto it for too long a couple times this week. The offensive line was not prepared for the Cardinals pass rush. The receiving game.
I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Why?
So as far as the offensive line goes, there was only one sack that was really on the offensive line, in my opinion. That was the one where Ronnie Stanley slipped. So I'm not going to even blame him because the grass was freaking awful. That's one thing that we didn't talk about. The grass on this field was absolutely atrocious.
It's so weird. Like turf is so bad, but somehow grass is bad too.
Well, this grass, they literally bring it from outside and like move it around and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen when they did the Super Bowl, they showed it.
Yeah. So I mean,
doesn't Vegas do that too?
I'm not sure, but
probably all those desert teams.
I guess you kind of have to if it's you're in that kind of stadium if you want grass.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I need to figure something else out because that was terrible. It looked like a freaking horse track.
I think the most important thing to take away is Mark Andrews is one touchdown away from tying Todd Heap's record. He has been the most dominant force on offense outside of Lamar Jackson this year. And it's not even close. Even Zay Flowers isn't close because as good as he's been in receiving, he hasn't, scored touchdowns. And Mark Andrews has been just as productive receiving as he has been scoring touchdowns. He had one drop yesterday, and it was a bad one, but he's entitled to one or two every once in a while. When you have a dominant receiver or tight end like that, they can drop one and get away with it every once in a while.
I think the biggest thing with Mark Andrews is that we give him so much freedom in the passing game to just kind of, if you're not going to be open running the route that you were supposed to run, you're okay to find the soft spot in the zone and do that. And sometimes Trent Dilfer talked about with our passing offense, the spacing of our receivers get a little messed up because of that. But yeah. I think that it does so good for us so many times that it's like, how can you tell him not to do that? Because he's unguardable when he does it.
Right. I am so glad that we just happened upon that man. Like he was like a 4th round pick.
Yeah, and I didn't even know this until the freaking they talked about it on the broadcast that he's from Arizona. And then after the game, apparently he came out and was like, yeah, I had my pre-draft meetings with the Cardinals and they said I was too soft and too slow.
Wow.
So he had some motivation in this game. He finished up with 4 catches for 40 yards with a touchdown as the leading receiver on 5 targets.
Yeah.
Rushing-wise, we had Gus Edwards, 19 carries for 80 yards and 3 goal line touchdowns. Lamar went 18 for 27 for 157 with 1 touchdown, no picks, but he was sacked 4 times. But going back to those sacks, I think that it was mainly on Lamar, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that he was holding on to the ball so long and he wasn't transitioning to his checkdowns. Like
pressure was getting through pretty fast, though.
To me, I'll go back and when I'll watch the film, I'll go back and look and see on those sacks how long he had. But it seemed like on a lot of them, besides the Ronnie Stanley one that I remember, the other ones it seemed like he was holding the ball and then just like just didn't find his short route that he could check the ball down to. And I think that those guys were open. I know the guys down the field, maybe his first read wasn't open, but I think his checkdowns he didn't get a chance to hit.
He had that one really weird pass that I thought was an interception to Rashad Bateman, where he caught it. It was
The one that he underthrew it. That was an amazing catch by Rashad Bateman.
I know. That's
Dude,
like
Rashad Bateman looks so good, and I don't understand why we're not targeting him more. He only had 2 targets yesterday.
He targeted Odell like 10 times.
Odell had 4 targets.
It felt like he had more.
Bateman should be getting the 4 targets. Odell should be getting the 2 targets.
Right. And I know we're paying Odell a lot, but he's really not doing much.
At the end of the day, the money should not affect how we're calling plays and how Lamar is targeting certain receivers. Right. Whoever's playing the best at that point in time is who we should play. The politics, keep that out of it.
Right. I think Rashad Bateman's about to go off one of these weeks coming up.
Yes.
Maybe he'll have his game against the Browns or Bengals. Because doesn't it go Seahawks, Browns, Bengals?
Yeah. I think something like that. Because I think we play
or Seahawks, Bengals, Browns.
Yeah, Seahawks, Browns, Bengals. And we play the Bengals on a Thursday night.
And then we have the Chargers, right? Or is it the Jaguars?
Chargers on the road. That's our next road game is 4 games from now.
So we have Chargers, then we have the bye. Is it before or after the Chargers?
It's after the Chargers. But we technically get extra time between the Bengals and the Chargers because we play the Bengals on a Thursday night.
The mini bye.
Yeah.
That'll be a huge game because the Bengals look really hot now, all of a sudden. Shocker.
They do it every year. It's not really that surprising.
I know. It's okay. We'll humble them again.
Anyways, the other thing offensively I just want to talk about, I said it earlier, we need to establish the run game in the first half. It's different when you're playing a Detroit team that loads the box up and forces you to pass when we passed first. Versus the Cardinals, they were doing the opposite. They said, we'll take everyone out of the box and force you to run the ball, and yet we still pass the ball on first and second down, and we're inefficient. We were taking 2-yard gains or incomplete passes, and we'd be up for second and long. Our first down efficiency was awful because we didn't run the ball.
And that made our third down efficiency even worse.
And then on top of that, we would call RPO plays, and Lamar was forcing the pass on the RPOs when it wasn't there. Multiple times. He'd throw 50-50 balls to OBJ. He was throwing screens when he didn't have numbers, smoke screens to Zay Flowers or hitches, short routes when they didn't have numbers, and they were basically tackled as soon as they caught it. Hand the ball off and let our running back go off against the third worst rushing defense in the NFL.
Right. I don't understand why we didn't just run that damn ball more. But
if that happens going forward, Monken has to be in the headset saying, Lamar, hand the ball off. Stop being greedy.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be a combination of Monken and Lamar. I don't necessarily think it's all on either one of them. It's a little bit of both. I will say, though, at the end of the day, we won the game. So this is one of those games where we have a lot of tape to look at and a lot of footage to review, and we can learn from, but we still managed to get the win.
Yeah, definitely.
So we are tied for the lead in the AFC, by the way, with the Kansas City
Chiefs lost to the freaking Broncos.
I think that gives us the conference lead right now. I think we're number 1. Let me check that real fast.
Well, as of today, we're the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
What? That's stupid. Why are we the favorites?
I
don't like that. I don't like that at all.
It's a week-to-week league, though. We lose to the Seattle Seahawks next week. We'll be like 10th. But the other thing I want to talk about with OBJ was the fact that I feel like, could start to become a distraction with the fact that he's not producing on the field. If you saw, I don't know if you saw it in your version, but the last pass interference where he had it in the end zone, he comes storming off the field and takes his helmet off and throws it and slams it down, like starting a big scene on the sideline. After we just got a big pass interference, we're winning the ball game, and we're about to score another one on the 1-yard line, and he's mad because he didn't score.
That's that. I did not see that.
Yeah, that was a really bad. In my opinion, that some people are like, oh yeah, it shows how much passion he has and stuff like that, and how every receiver is going to want to score and stuff like that. But dude, when you're winning the game and you got a call go your way, come on.
Yeah. By the way, playoff picture. Right now, the Chiefs are the 1 seed at 6-2. The Dolphins are the 2 seed at 6-2. The Jags are the 3 seed at 6-2, and we're the 4 seed at 6-2. The good thing is we play the Jags and the Dolphins, so that can be settled on the field. And then the Chiefs aren't as good as even if the Chiefs get the number 1 seed, they're beatable.
It's probably because of our 2 losses being as bad as they are.
Well, one was to the Steelers and one was to the Colts, and the Colts have lost a lot of games since then. So that's like win percentage, whatever.
It's crazy. We could be 8-0 right now.
We should be 8-0 right now. Right now, the NFC, if you want to know, Eagles 1 at 7-1, Seahawks 2 at 5-2, Lions 3 at 5-2,
Wow.
Falcons 4 at 4-4, Cowboys 5 at 5-2. 49ers dropped all the way down to 6 at 5-3, lose 3 straight. Vikings, RIP, they're 7 at 4-4.
Dude, I heard that the Vikings might try to trade for Ryan Tannehill.
That would be interesting.
Or I also saw them potentially trying to get Jameis Winston.
Why don't they just you know what would actually maybe be a decent trade for them? And you're gonna maybe tell me no, but it's clear that he's not the answer in Denver. Trade for Russell Wilson. You don't want Kirk Cousins anymore.
Denver, I don't know if Denver would do that.
You know, I mean, they didn't win. You could always trade for
because you'd have to take it. Well, also, I don't know if Minnesota would do that because then they'd have to take the rest of his huge contract on.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You could
always. If he was in his last year, I would say sure. But you know who they should call? Here's my opinion.
Who?
They should call up TB12.
No, that will never happen.
They should.
He has ownership in the league now. He can't play.
Oh, really?
Because he owns part of the Raiders now. He can't.
So he's
play.
not allowed?
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought, actually someone they really could call up. Baltimore. Tyler Huntley.
Flacco.
Oh, dude, I would root so hard for the Vikings.
If Flacco went to Minnesota, they would be my number 1 NFC team by far.
Yeah.
And honestly, he actually kind of fits that system.
He does. He's just so old. That's all.
Dude, I mean,
he's 40 now.
Anyways, going forward, still on offense. Gus Bus, story of the day. Also, I know this isn't technically offense, but Justin Tucker misses another long 50-plus yard field goal, makes him 1 for 4 this season on 50-plus yard field goals.
Hit the bar. He had the distance. The only concerning thing is that there was no wind. You're in Arizona. I don't know if he just hooked it shanked it, or if he just
Listen to the stat though. 1 out of 4 when he's 50-plus yard field goals.
Yeah.
The dude from the Colts hit 4 for 4 against us in one game in the rain from 50-plus. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I will say
the good thing about Tucker is he's not going to let pressure affect him. He's not going to be one of those guys, but I am afraid that he's definitely on the downtick of his career.
I don't think so. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic. He's only had a few field goal attempts this year, and they've all been of 50-plus yards because when we have been getting field goal attempts,
not last week against or 2 weeks. What was it? What was the last game that we had a bunch of field goals in?
Okay, besides the Titans,
Tennessee.
Yeah. But he made those all, except for the one.
Yeah, but they were all 30-yarders. They were all short.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is normally we're scoring like a touchdown. You know what I mean? Or we're just punting.
Yeah,
it is concerning. It's hard to not ignore. Or no, it's hard to ignore. Sorry. But at the same time, you just got to have faith. He's the best kicker in the NFL, or has been at least for the last 5-6 years. He'll figure it out. And if he doesn't, the Ravens will.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move into defense.
Defense.
I think the biggest thing was it felt like we overlooked them defensively and we were not prepared. Like it seems like our focus wasn't there that we normally have. They even said after the game, I think it was Humphrey and Roquan both said, we were misaligning the formations. We had miscommunications all over the place. And I think that was a big reason why they were not as on top of things as they usually are. But, we had 2 interceptions that I think pretty much sealed the game for us defensively. And, we talked about it earlier. I don't know how much of those were the defense as much as Josh Dobbs just throwing it right to our guys.
Right.
But with
Geno Stone, again.
Geno Stone interception, he is tied with Ed Reed for the most interceptions through 8 games with 5 interceptions. Still number 1 in the NFL. But he's on pace to break Ed Reed's record if he stays on this pace. He's on pace for 10. Ed Reed's record was 8 in the season.
Yeah.
So
that's huge.
Dude.
And that's also a pain in our butt because that's another player we're going to have to find a way to sign.
I don't think that we'll place the priority on him, to be honest.
Yeah, because Mr. Injury-riddled Williams is big-time contract guy in Baltimore, so.
Yeah. But like you said, Michael Pierce was a freaking beast.
Yes, he was.
He was beast.
Yes.
I have not seen him be so disruptful since even when he was back on his rookie contract with us.
Yeah.
Dude.
I know. It's like he was kind of balling last year, but he got hurt. He comes out today and he's just like, no, I'm back.
He gets 5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL. He gets a pass breakup or a deflection because he batted the ball down. And then he also had another QB hit. So, yeah, he was balling. He also forced a fumble that Jadeveon Clowney should have freaking scooped and scored if he had any flexibility. He needs to go to yoga class.
Or something. I was just saying fall on the ball. Just fall on it,
There's one thing, though. If Clowney did scoop that, I can tell you firsthand he was not going to get caught. I've seen that. I played against him in high school.
Yeah.
Clowney is a freak. And in high school, he played running back.
Really?
And he was it's like fullback because they were in the wing T. But if he had a clear lane, you ain't catching him.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But as far as our run defense was just dreadful yesterday. It was the worst they've ever. And we're supposed to be the second-ranked rush defense in the NFL, and they were the 5th-ranked rush offense in the NFL, and they came out on top of that battle.
I know it was laughable. Sorry, I'm giggling because I'm just thinking of how mortal they made us look. It was kind of embarrassing. We were kind of humbled in that sense. And they weren't just running it to the outside, which has kind of been our weak spot. They were running it up the middle to the outside every which way. They were throwing screens. Hollywood was really starting to annoy me a little bit. I know I said I like him, and whatever. He scored a touchdown. Great, cool, good for him. That's probably the highlight of his career. But yeah, we did not look good against the run, and I think that's going to change. We're going to look back at this week, and then we're going to kill it next week against Kenneth Walker. We're just going to absolutely dominate that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's just one of those things, you're off, and then it kind of like pisses you off that you messed up that bad, and you come back better.
Yeah, it was just, I think the other thing about it was the fact that the Cardinals were on their 3rd-string running back, and they were still doing that. They ran for 32 times for 129 and 1 rushing touchdown. They averaged 4 yards per carry. So at the end of the day, it's not like an amazing. Like we ran for 130 yards too. So it's not like they outran us. We basically were equal
against us.
But they had more yards offensively than we did.
They did. Because they didn't stall out every drive.
Yeah.
We also they did actually stall out almost every drive, but we also ended up with pretty good field position quite a few times.
Yeah, the other thing I would say is that our defense came up big in the key moments when they needed to.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple 4th downs that they went for that we stopped them on.
Yeah, there was that one where he we literally stuffed him in a 4th and 1. He tried to run it. and he'd been doing it all day, and we just like, we're nope.
And then, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for defense. I mean, I still think Brandon Stevens is balling right now. Marlon Humphrey is struggling.
Brandon Stevens, I don't know if you saw how shook he looked when Geno Stone jumped in front of him and picked that off.
He was pissed. He was like,
Brandon
man, that's going to be my
Stevens
second
thought he had
interception.
Brandon Stevens thought he had a 2-pick game, and out of nowhere, Geno Stone come. So credit to
I
Brandon.
do think if Brandon Stevens caught it, he probably would have housed it because Geno Stone ran across from the other side of the field, and his momentum took him out of bounds. Stevens was ready to run upfield with it.
Yeah, he was. He, you know, our defense is one of those defenses that always finds a way to make a play, and that is what I am loving this year. But that's pretty much all I have on defense too.
Yeah.
Did you want to go over anything else?
Let's just get into our, final thoughts. I mean, I think biggest thing you can say is that a win is a win.
A win is a win.
You can't, harp too much on it. You just got to, look at the film. Our guys got to watch the film and see what we need to fix. But the good thing is, we're done for the road for a while. 6 of our last 9 games here are at home. The next 3 straight are at home,
including the season finale,
including Pittsburgh at home.
Yeah.
The other thing, we got our trade deadline tomorrow. I know there's been reports saying that we're out on Derrick Henry. We tried, but they didn't want to. The owner didn't want to go for it.
Their owner vetoed it.
Supposedly, I don't know how true these reports are, but that's what they're saying. But apparently, EDC is being very active in the trade game. He's trying to do something. One trade to note that will affect us is next week we play Seattle. They just traded and got who was it? Leonard Williams from New York Giants.
Yep,
so he's a beast and definitely gonna be.
He's always been tough to play against for the Ravens. We've always had a tough time against him.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see what happens. We got till 4 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, and
let's do something on Halloween.
Yep, trade deadline on Halloween. How about that? Something spooky is going to happen.
Okay, You know what? You want to make a bold trade prediction each?
Bold trade prediction, all right.
Yeah.
For the Ravens or for anybody?
One for each. And you can say who gets traded where to what. So, like, both sides of the trade. So, like, if you said, like, I know this won't happen now, but Kirk Cousins to Miami for a first-round pick.
Okay. Yeah. Let me think about this.
I got my Baltimore.
You got your Baltimore?
I got my Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens send a second-round pick this year and a future 5th-round pick for Saquon Barkley.
That's who I was going for.
Yeah. You can copy it.
I got one for us.
Okay.
The Ravens trade a first-round pick for Brian Burns.
Maybe. Although the Panthers did get their first win of the year yesterday. 5 field goals.
I don't think that's going to deter them.
I like that, though. That would be nice. Okay. Let me think of my other
I've got my other one if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hunter Renfrow traded to the New England Patriots.
For what?
A 6th-round pick.
Okay. Let me think. I think I've got one. I think you might see like maybe a Danielle Hunter to the Bengals for like a first-round pick.
I sure hope not.
If they don't need him, I think he's still getting moved, and I would say maybe maybe like one of the NFC South teams make a move for him that really think they're going to be good, or like even maybe the Rams if they have anything to trade.
Okay.
I don't think he'd get traded in division. That's the only thing, I don't think. Actually, I mean, honestly, maybe the Dolphins.
I got one more for you.
Okay.
Hear me out.
Okay. Is this a Ravens or an NFL?
NFL.
Okay.
Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Traded to the Buffalo Bills.
For what? Could they afford it?
Huh?
Could they afford it?
I don't know.
Okay. Ooh, you want to know like a sneaky, one that you could maybe see? Maybe like the Buccaneers make a trade for a quarterback. I
don't know. Baker hasn't played that bad. I don't think that they're going to trade because they're not really in it. They're 3-4
for a
in third place.
Browns could trade for a quarterback. That's one that could trade for a quarterback.
Potentially. Another backup.
Yeah, like a Joshua Dobbs again if Kyler Murray comes back. You could see Kyler Murray get moved out to Minnesota.
Dude, I've been saying that, but they said that their Cardinals came out and said they aren't moving them, so.
Yeah, well, good for him.
But that's all I got for this week. What about you?
That's all I got. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Guys, our views are going up. Please keep watching our show. We love it. We love doing this show. And we hope to continue to grow this with you guys. So
yes,
we're very thankful for our community.
We still have yet to get our first email question to the Real Talk Ravens podcast at gmail.com. Link is in the description. So please send us any questions that you have to our email, and we will definitely answer them.
Yeah.
We would love that, I think.
We should. Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, do that. And we will be here not Thursday this week. I think it's going to be Friday, talking Seahawks at Ravens.
Yep. See y'all. Have a good week.
Have a good week.